She probably went through so much discouragement, and knowing during that time for someone to still have like their menstrual for them to be bleeding, they at that time they were known to be unclean, so she wouldn't be able to go into like the go into the synagogue because of that, and she would probably find herself pretty isolated. So of course she'll be isolated from society, and of course her condition. So she suffered financially, socially, and probably even like emotionally and mentally. Um, the Judging by her circumstance. But what we learn about this woman, that even though she went through all of this, she never gave up. She never gave up on herself. She still kept hoping, and when she saw the opportunity, she went for it. She saw the opportunity. She said, if I could just touch his cloth, if I could just touch his cloth, then maybe I'll be healed. She held up to that hope and she went for it. Now, some people in that situation would probably just fall into despair. They'll just give up. They were like, maybe this is my life. Maybe I'm just meant to suffer like this. There's no hope for me. Why do I keep trying? I went through this. I've lost so much. So why do I keep going again? Why should I try another time? And why should I try again? But the thing is, if this woman had that same mindset, if this woman said that my situation's not going to change and completely just gave up and just stopped, she would have missed the opportunity. She would have missed her healing. She would have missed it. And only God knows when she would have got that opportunity again. But thank God she did. She encouraged herself and she went for it. Some of us, unfortunately, some of us are too afraid to go for it. Some of us are too afraid to take the risk. Bear in mind, like I mentioned, she probably suffered socially. So of course she must have been afraid to come out in society because of like the stigma of her being unclean. She wasn't able to go to synagogue, but she didn't care. She saw the opportunity and she went for it. She fought for her healing and she got her healing, and she received that breakthrough. She received that healing. Amen. Well, I could also learn about this is that what you can also learn about this is that sometimes when you're going through things, sometimes when you're going through challenges, you should go into challenges. Sometimes you will expect to lose something. Sometimes it can be time. I mean, she suffered from this for 12 years. You can lose money. She spent so much money and she had no, and she spent so much of her money, and yet nothing, and yet there was no cure. Nothing changed. You can end up losing people. You end up losing hope. End up losing strength. But thank God she encouraged herself despite losing so much. She kept going. Amen. And so we're gonna continue on. Um, from verse um from verse 35. So while he was still speaking, some came from the ruler of the synagogue's house, who said, "Your daughter is dead." So this is Jairus. This is someone talking to Jairus, telling it that that she has already died. So it says, "Why trouble the teacher any further?" As soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not be afraid, only believe." And he permitted no one to follow him except Peter, James, John, and John, the brother of James. Okay. Then he came to the house, the ruler of the synagogue, and saw the tumult, and saw a tumult um to and saw tumults and those who wept and wailed loudly. When he came in, he said to them, "Why make this commotion and weep? The child is not dead, but sleeping." And they ridiculed him. But when he had put them all outside, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him, and he entered where the child was lying. Then he took the child by the hand and said to her, Tabitha, come on, Kuman, which translates, "Little girl, I say to you, arise." Immediately the girl arose and awaked, for she was 12 years old and 12 years of age, and they were overcome with great amazement. But he commanded them strictly that no one should know it, and say that something should be given to her to eat. So, what can we learn about the story? Okay, so originally Jesus was on his way to Jairus' house to heal his daughter. But what happened was the lady with the issue of blood that happened, and which, of course, the whole situation it probably wasted time. And Jairus was probably thinking that, oh my days, like someone touched him, and it's like, um, he's like, he was probably thinking within himself, like, oh my days, we're losing time, my daughter is dying, and then this happens, this lady comes out of nowhere, touches him, and then uh, we're still here. Some of us probably, I don't know, some of us was probably in that situation. We probably want to like be thinking, we're like, oh my days, can we hurry up? Can we speed it up? But no, just wait. And then when you hear, and then someone came to him and basically tells him that his daughter is already dead. Why bother? Why bother the teacher? At that point, most of you will probably want to give up. You'll be like, she's already dead. There's nothing we can do about it. You'll probably just like we've lost time. There's no point. But no, Jesus said, but no, Jesus. They still kept going. Jesus said, not to be afraid, that but only believe. And what we can definitely learn from this is that you can't put God in this time box. A lot of us, a lot of us, as we know, we're bound by time, and we know that, and for specific things, there is a time to everything. So we feel like once time runs out, it's over for me. But we don't realize that we serve a God who is not bound by time, who runs on his own time. In fact, if anything, we're wrong here. It's rather we're too early or we're too late. But God is always at the right time. So you might be thinking that you might be hoping for something, or you might be going through something and you were waiting for that solution, but it might have felt too late for you. But this story is telling you that it's never too late for God. That no matter, like, God could do it anytime. You could probably do it instant. You could probably do it one day. He could change your situation at any time. There is no time bound in God. There's nothing limiting or stopping God from changing your situation or turning things around for you. And I also want to turn to the book of Mark, chapter 8, verse 22. Verse 22. So, so I read, then he came to um, Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him, and begged him to touch him. So he took the blind man by the hand. Wait, sorry, wrong one. Sorry, apologies, that was the wrong one. Yes, sorry, Sorry, I picked the wrong page. Sorry, can we turn to the book of Mark chapter 10, verse 46, please? Okay, so it says, now they came to Jericho. As he went out of Jericho with the disciples and a multitude, a blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the roads begging. And when he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to cry out and say, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Then many warned him to be quiet, and he cried out all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. So Jesus stood still and um, commanded him to be called. Then they called the blind man, saying to him, be of good cheer, rise, he is calling you. And throwing aside his garments, he rose and came to Jesus. So Jesus answered and said to him, what do you want me to do for you? The blind man said to him, Rabbi, that I may receive my sight. Then Jesus said to him, go your way, your faith has made you well. And immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus on the road. Now, so what you can learn from the story, this is actually a pretty wonderful story about the blind man who fought for his healing. So this man, you can imagine that he has been blind for a very long time, begging on the road. But when he saw the opportunity of his story to change, this man went for it. He ran. He ran. He called out to Jesus. And here's the thing, even when the crowd was telling him to be quiet, this man, he didn't listen. He just kept shouting for Jesus. He kept calling out for Jesus. He didn't listen to the people around him. He didn't pay no mind to anyone who was trying to stop him. He didn't let anyone get in his way. He just fought. He saw the chance and he took it. And here's the thing that a lot of us face in our lives. Sometimes the crowd that's probably telling us to be quiet can be our own thoughts. So sometimes when the situation and sometimes when we hear those thoughts will probably tell you to give up. There's no point. It's too late, or why even bother, or just tell you to give up. But this guy didn't give up, and we need to learn from this as well that we shouldn't give up. We shouldn't give into those thoughts. Those thoughts are those thoughts will only keep you will only make you miss your chance. Will make you miss your healing. And the great thing about this, he took the opportunity. What you can learn from all these people is that they didn't miss the opportunity. Even despite what other people were saying around them, they didn't care who was judging them. They didn't care about how long during this situation. They didn't care the fact that okay, maybe they did care that they were tired, and maybe yes, they were frustrated, and maybe they did feel discouraged, but they encouraged themselves. They encourage themselves. And the thing is that they didn't wait for God to just like to someday God notice me, God, and just notice me, just wait for God to finally notice them, and for God to just see them and be like, take pity on me and just like change my situation. No, they asked for it. They advocated for themselves. They went for it. They instead of waiting, they went to Jesus. They like, no, I'm going to go to the healer, and I'm going to receive my healing. And that is what they did. And they received it. So what makes people give up? Some so study says shows that it's a brain chemistry of discomfort. Sometimes in your mind you may seek for comfort or a dopamine of escape, feeling of boredom, or sometimes in your mind um the thought of challenges, the thought of like things being too hard. You Some people just automatically feel like no, they just want to escape from it, they just want to find a relief for it. And another one is fear of failure. You're afraid of failure, you're afraid of failing, you're afraid of being judged. I know a lot of people can actually relate to this. You probably went through a series of failures. You probably made some wrong decisions along the